Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and I'm joined by Neil this week to have a look at the latest team news and injury developments ahead of Game Week 23. Deadline is tomorrow. We're streaming this on Friday. Welcome, Neil. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Joe. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good. And welcome all those joining us in the live chat. BB Defender, FPL Saint, Alvin, Sandri, J77, Lag, Matt, Anurag, and Tinker Hermanson. Wow, amazing. I got that one. Brian and Neil Cheeseman and Historia Kenya and James as well. Lots and lots of you joining us nice and early. Thank you for joining us and welcome to all of those listening and watching as well who aren't in the live chat. Okay, let's move on. First game, West Ham, Sunderland. What is the latest from the home side first?
Yep, two of the six press conferences we had yesterday, managers of these two clubs. Nuno was up first, and he said that Paqueta would again be out. The official line last week was an injury, but I think that's a thinly veiled disguise for his transfer request, and he wants to move back to Brazil. Nuno was effectively suggesting that much yesterday, but he's out definitely either way. Other than that, Nuno hinted a couple of knocks, but not mentioning any names as usual. Diouf is back from the Africa Cup of Nations, and the new young winger, Kepa La Madrid, who's come from Venezuela.
Okay.
He signed a loan for the rest of the season, but he's in pre-season in his homeland, so he's going to be a while before he's match fit.
Okay, right, Joe. And as for Sunderland, what's the latest there?
They've also got a new signing, and they've also got a new signing who is not match fit. So this is Tarbai, I think his name is. He's signed, but he's going to have another 2 or 3 weeks of getting fit. Elise as well. He's just come back from I think a year-long absence, and he's featuring for the under-21s at the moment. So 2 match fitness flags there. Otherwise, Masuaku, Traore, they're still out, but the remaining 2 of the 6 who went away to Africa, Talby and Diarra, they are back and could be involved.
Okay, we'll move to Burnley against Tottenham. Well, potentially this could be a good match for Tottenham, but you never know with Tottenham. And also Burnley have been okay now and again. So what's the latest from Burnley?
Yeah, another 2 managers who appears to be yesterday. For Burnley, Joe Worrell and Zian Fleming could be back. They both rejoined training this week. Worrell's got the best chance of the 2. Tressor, Cullen, Bayer, Roberts, Amdouni, they're the long-term ones. They're still out. Maxime Esteve, he came off last weekend. He's one of the few well-owned Burnley players in FPL. But Parker said at the time that it was cramp. Okay. And yesterday he said everyone else is ready, so should be fit.
Rightio. And as for Spurs, they're going to be without one of them. One of their starting midfielders. I remember getting him into my fantasy side a long time ago, and when he was sort of just joining. But yeah, Lucas Bergvall is not going to be around for a while.
He's not. No, he's got an ankle injury picked up against Borussia Dortmund in midweek. They're assessing the time frame of that, but it's probably going to be a longer term one.
Okay.
Palhinha is still a doubt. He missed out last weekend, and then again on when was it, Tuesday? It'll be tight for him to get back for this one, according to Thomas Frank. And of course, they've got Davies, Richarlison, Benton, Kudus, Madison, and Kulusevski out as well. Right. Simmons is available. Xavi Simmons, he played through the pain barrier against Dortmund. He had a swollen ankle. It looked pretty nasty after the game, but apparently he's fine. Solanke and Udogie, they started for the first time after their injuries in midweek, and they came through unscathed as well. Van de Ven's okay. The only reason he didn't feature in the Champions League was because of suspension. And then they get 4 players back who were ineligible in Europe. So that's Dragosan, Gallagher, Tail, and Basuma.
Okay, right. So let's move on to the fixture that all Brighton fans dread. It's away to Fulham. We tend to not do so well for some reason. I don't know. What's the latest from the home side?
They're going to be down one midfielder, but they're getting a lot of players back. So Lukic is the newest addition to the injury list. He is going to be out for 4 or 5 weeks with a hamstring injury. But it's mostly positive elsewhere. Smith Rowe also came off last weekend, but Silva has since attributed that to fatigue, and he's in contention. As is Kenny Tete, who's been out for a while with a hamstring injury. He's back on the grass. Rodrigo Muniz is back on the grass as well, but this one comes a bit too soon for him. And then they get 3 players back from the Africa Cup of Nations as well. So Bassi, Iwobi, and Chukwueze are all now available.
Okay, and as for Brighton, what's the latest there?
Yes, De Kuyt was back after illness, led to his absence last weekend. Matip still out though. He's still got a toe problem that's kept him out, I think, all of this calendar year. Otherwise, I think no other new problems. Webster and Simas still out. Solly March slowly working his way back. I think he's just back in team training, as I said today, but not ready for this one. He did mention a few players that aren't able to play 90 minutes at present, and he said Minte was one of those whose minutes we have to manage.
Right.
So we don't know if he's able to start or not start. He said definitely someone we need to manage at the moment, and more lukewarm praise for Costulas despite his bicycle kick. He said he mentioned twice that he's back up to Welbeck, but then did say he was pushing for a start.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Welbeck can't start every match, so yeah, you would think Costulas will come in there because Jorginho, who is not really a striker there, so yeah, he's usually more in that sort of number 10 or another midfield role, backing up. Okay.
Yeah, just on Jorginho, actually, I forgot to mention that he was available in the squad last week and he came on as a sub, but the reason he was on the bench in the first place was because he was also ill before that game, so he's obviously now fine.
Yeah, I very much expect him to start this one. Man City Wolves. Now, this is going to be an intriguing one, not just much for injury news, but just any sort of hints at rotation because obviously they're not in good form at the moment. Quite an embarrassing defeat. I was listening to an interview with the Boda Glimt. Something like he's called something like the mental resilience manager or something like that there, but he's an ex-fighter pilot, and it was very interesting about their insight into how they prepare for a match against Man City, which they obviously did very successfully there. So they're in poor form. There could be rotation, but yeah, what is the latest illness or any hints of rotation?
Yeah, we'll start with the team news first. As you said, their illness that is affecting Matthias Nunes. He missed out last weekend. He missed out against Bodo Glimt, and then he's still a bit of a doubt. Pep said today that he's still got the virus, and they're going to see what the doctor says this afternoon. Nico Gonzalez probably won't be back. Pep says I don't think so. When asked if he could be fit, and then they've got 6. I think it's 6 red flags: Stones, Bob, Ruben Dias, Guardiol, Kovacic, and Savinho. Foden, he played in midweek, although he did actually break bones in his hand in the Manchester derby. I think he was fitted with a cast. If you didn't see Bernardo, Marguehi, or Semenyo in midweek, there's nothing. There's no mystery there. It was just that they were either suspended or ineligible to play in Europe.
Okay.
And Pep has confirmed today that Gehi is going to make his debut. He was asked whether he was going to feature tomorrow, and he said yes. So yeah, considering the absence of defenders, it's really good. So yeah, we were expecting that anyway for him to come in, but that was being rubber stamped by Pep.
Rightio. So, okay, Foden's playing with some broken bones in his hand. Played, but was also substituted midweek.
He was
obviously substituted half-time the previous week. What do we think? What are the chances of his start? Also, chances of a start for Haaland now that Marmoush is back. And Pep has said that Marmoush would, is needed to give Haaland a rest.
Yeah. I mean, the X minutes for both players have been really high in recent weeks, but I think they've definitely taken a bit of a dent. Foden especially. I think Haaland maybe not so much. Marmoush is going to come in for Haaland at some point, whether that's at Galatasaray next week, which they now need a win. So that whether that might factor into this selection this weekend. Foden, I think it's increasingly doubtful every week now. I think especially now that Semenyo was on board and Doku's back from injury, because previously there was a way of fitting both Foden and Cherki in the same team. One would play maybe on the right of the front three, one would be in the centre mid three. But now, if you assume that Pep's going to go with width against Wolves, against our back five, Semenyo and Doku maybe on the flanks, then is it Foden and Cherki competing for one spot?
Okay.
Alongside someone like Bernardo and Rodri.
Right.
And Cherki's is sort of the man in form, isn't he? He's grabbed a couple of goals off the bench recently. Was the only one who sort of looked like doing something. So I've certainly got doubts about Foden this weekend.
Okay.
And we'll see about Haaland.
It sounds like with Foden that if he does start, he'll probably be substituted 60,
Yeah,
70th
has been the
minute.
case recently.
And if Cherky starts, Foden might get some minutes towards the end. But yeah, it definitely doesn't. Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he lasted 90 minutes. And as you said with Haaland, we just got to hope there because it's a 3 o'clock kickoff and the deadline's at 12:30. Okay, let's go look at Wolves. They are better. They're in the top 4 for expected goals conceded over the last 4 game weeks and a pretty high last 6 as well. So they're actually a team in form, weirdly, even though they're championship bound. What's the latest there?
Yeah, pretty low-key team news. Bellegarde and Totti, they're making progress. Bellegarde's back in team training as well, but neither ready for game week 23. Jorgen Strand Larsen, of course, he's been linked with a move away from Wolves. I think, is it Leeds have put a bid in, and Edwards acknowledged that a bid has been made. However, Strand Larsen will feature for Wolves this weekend. Could be his farewell appearance, but he said he's trained well. He's going to be part of the squad.
Okay.
So no change on his circumstances yet.
Okay. Let's move on to Bournemouth against Liverpool. Potentially a good tie, this one. We did see a slight formation change midweek with Liverpool because Salah's back and Salah played up front with Ekitike. Obviously that went well with Liverpool winning, but Ekitike didn't necessarily score himself. So let's go with Liverpool first, really, because there was a few assets there. First of all, I mean, some news about Kanate that we to mention, but also just about what sort of formation they might play and the likely chances of some of the sort of key players starting.
Yeah, starting with the team news, Canardi, as you said, he missed out against Marseille for personal reasons. I think it since came out that his father had passed away. And Slot said this morning that it sounded like he's going to miss this one as well. He said the player needs to be there for his family and that's time for himself. He's obviously back home in France. No other new concerns from midweek. Chiesa, he was he pulled out of the squad shortly before that Marseille game, and he's 50-50 for the weekend. Of course, he's still got Isak, Bradley, and Leone on the long-term list. Yeah, I mean, yeah, in terms of formation, as you said, there it was a sort of diamond or box 4-4-2 with Salah and Ekitike up top. We've seen it before in December when he paired Isak and Ekitike for the first time. I think that was against Inter.
Okay.
And it worked very well then. And then he went back to
Right.
more of a 4-2-3-1. But availability, I think, forced his hand after that because Isak got injured in that match, and then it was just Ekitike left up top, and Salah was away in AFCON. Now he has got the option. He's got Salah and Ekitike play up top. You could pair Gakpo with one of those two as well. So it is a formation you might see, especially with Frimpong kind of offering a lot of width from right back. He is naturally just a touchline hugger. So yeah, it could very well feature. Salah hasn't started a Premier League game since November, because he was obviously benched before he went away to AFCON. So he played 90 minutes in midweek. Slot said this morning that he's ready to play tomorrow. He's going to have another training session today and he's going to decide on the lineup on Saturday. So no real clues from Slot, but there's a bit of uncertainty, I think, with a few players this week, because Ekitike and Wirtz have played a lot recently, and Salah and Gakpo are back. So I'm slightly nervous as an Ekitike owner that he might get a rest for this one, but or management, I think, at the very least.
Yeah, I think if they go 2 up front, we've certainly got Ekitike, Salah, and Gakpo vying for 3 places. And as you said, Ekitike and Wirtz have played a lot. We might see a Gakpo start. I think though, I'm a fellow Ekitike owner, and many others watching and listening maybe as well. I'm still okay. I wouldn't be confident captaining, but I would be confident of getting minutes as well. I don't mind him coming on for the last 30 minutes against some tired Bournemouth legs. We've seen Bournemouth do concede late, as Brighton showed earlier in the week.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that as such. But I think the armband would be a risk on Ekitike.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, what you said there actually about Bournemouth, Iraola is long favoured because they're such an intense team, such a high pressing octane team, high octane team. He often makes a lot of subs around the 60, 70 minute mark, taking off players who are just spent. Now, he hasn't really got that many options to do that because of the injury list I'm about to discuss, which I'll just segue straight into, Joe, if you'd like me to, with the Bournemouth team news.
Definitely. Brilliant.
Yeah, so Tavernier is the latest addition to that. I know a lot of people moved for him last weekend. and he is going to be out for some time, according to Iraola. Not an exact timeline yet on his recovery. He doesn't think it's that bad, but it will be some time. So he joins Cliver, Brooks, Soler, Adams, Gannon Doak, Will Dennis, of course, who's a backup goalkeeper, and Semenyo's obviously left as well. So that sort of first choice front three behind the striker, Semenyo, Cliver, and Tavernier, they're now all out for one reason or another.
Okay.
One bit of good news: Enes could be back. Good news for Bournemouth, it is. He trained today and could be involved in the squad. Of course, that's another positional rival for Krupi and Evan Nielsen. Krupi has been playing as more of a 10 though recently anyway. Another thing that might affect Krupi, they've just signed Alex Toth, I think his name is. He is a sort of versatile midfielder. Iraola said this morning that his natural position is an 8. So competition for Scott, Cook, Christie, but he's also able to play as a 10. So that is, as is Scott as well. So even if Toth was in the 8 with Cook, Scott could push forward. So a little bit more of a doubt, I think, around Krupi going forward. But Iraola did praise him last week about his better work rate as a 10.
Okay. Another alternative captain could be Brentford star striker Thiago. If we think Haaland's not going to start, I must admit, I've moved the vice captaincy armband on him, so I'm getting closer. Brentford against Nottingham Forest next. Nottingham Forest, even though it's a Sean Dyche team, can be patchy in defence, particularly away. Let's go with the home side first. What's the latest from Brentford?
Not much to report from yesterday. Jordan Henderson could be back after an ankle issue, and Andrews has no fresh concerns from the previous game against Chelsea. So it's just De Silva, Carvalho, and Malambo long term. They do get one player back from AFCON. That's Frank Onyeka, but he won't be troubling the start 11.
Okay, righty-o. So, and Nottingham Forest, what's the latest there? Because there were quite a few missing players in their match against Braga midweek.
There was, yes. 2 we knew about already, of course, Wood and John Victor, who are with knee injuries after having surgery. But also they were without Igor Jesus and Murillo. So Igor had a bang on the hip, and he was the hip was too inflamed for him to be involved, according to Dyche. And then Murillo, he travelled actually to Portugal, but didn't feature. He had a tight hamstring, and Dyche said they had to be careful with him. So maybe that sounds a bit more precautionary.
Okay.
Zinchenko was available again after being eligible last weekend, but it doesn't sound like he's going to feature in Dyche's plans going forward. Anyway.
Okay. Crystal Palace against Chelsea. Where to start with Crystal Palace? Everyone wants to leave there, which is, well, you know, the way it is. Crystal Palace. I'm a Brighton fan, by the way, for those who don't know. So what's the latest from Crystal Palace? Who wants to go now?
Well, if you believe reports, Mateta does, but Glasner was asked about that this afternoon, and he said it's very clear he hasn't handed in a transfer request yet, and we've received no bid for now. So he is going to play on Sunday, according to Glasner. A lot could change between now and I think it's February the 2nd when deadline day is. But for the time being, he's available for selection and in the squad to face Chelsea. Otherwise, Danny Munoz is back in training, someone who could disrupt the FPL template in future weeks.
Yeah,
he's been back in training this week after I think about 4 or 6 weeks out with a knee injury. Ismail Assar's back as well, and again another possible option for FPL managers. Back from international duty with Senegal. We didn't get much else. I've not seen much else team news beyond that because a lot of the press conference that was broadcast on Sky was devoted to Glasner's future, Mateta's future. His dinner with Parish this week. Glasner has calmed down a bit since last weekend, and he says he's committed for the rest of the season. But we think Kamada, Decoria, Kapora, and Ketia are still out.
Okay, right, yeah. Let's go for Chelsea now. What's the latest there, particularly around Cole Palmer, who missed out midweek?
He did, but much like last week, I think it sounds like he's going to start in the league, and which would be the 9th game in succession he started in the league. Actually, strung together a bit of a run there. He's in a good place, according to Rosina. He's trained today, and they're going to assess his reaction to training. Rosina did. I'm going to get some more quotes from that press after him off air, but Rosina did say that he's not quite right. And I think that's pretty evident from watching him play. He was frustrated last weekend because he couldn't give his absolute maximum, but he still lasted 90 minutes. Elsewhere on the injury front, Jorgensen, he was subbed off. This is the backup goalkeeper, subbed off at half time against who they playing, Paphos. but it's not as serious as first feared. He's going to miss Palace, but he could be back for the Napoli game. So that in league terms, back from game week 24.
Okay.
Tosin Adarabioyo is out for weeks, so he joins Lavia and Colwell on the sidelines. And then Isugo, he just come back, but he's slipped in training and he's out for a month. I'm not sure what the injury is. They've had a wave of illness recently. Chelsea, Delap's been out, Estevao, Gittins, Enzo's been affected by it, but he's played through it. But they appear to be over that. Rosini said this afternoon, in terms of sickness, the players are coming back gradually to full health, and they've come through that. So it sounds like the bug has ceased to speak through the camp.
Okay, right here. Let's go for Newcastle against Aston Villa. Bruno Guimaraes, lots of owners of him amongst engaged managers. What's the latest with him and the rest of the Newcastle troops?
Yeah, there's a bit of a mixed bag here because on the surface, Howe was expressing optimism or hope anyway that he could be back. But he did say that the extent of the injury is still unknown. So it was based on little really that prognosis. He was injured. He got a knock to the ankle on when was it, Wednesday? Yes, it was Wednesday night against PSV. Came off just before half time. Howe said they'll never rule him out. You know, he's a guy that he'll give as much chance as he can to be available. But he did go on and say that he has to be right. He has to be fit. They won't risk anybody if they're not. So I think there's a bit of doubt there. Dan Burn could be back. He's training. He has been since Tuesday, I believe. Same with Willis Sula, and Howe said he possibly could be back, Dan Burn, this weekend. Probably as a sub, I would have thought. But I think he will need Lewis Hall's minutes very soon because he's just been overworked.
Yeah.
Lewis Hall, we don't want him to break down. Players still out. Shaw, Kraft and Livramento, and I think Murphy as well. He's sort of on an indefinite period of absence because of hamstring problems.
Okay, right here. What's the latest from Aston Villa?
Yeah, 3 definite red flags. Kamara, Barkley and McGinn, they're definitely out. And Unai Emery wouldn't be drawn on these other doubts, which include Martinez. Martinez seems to be unable to string together successive starts. He was absent again for the Fenerbahce game last night. He's had this recurrent calf issue. It wasn't specified whether this was the case, because there's also been talk of him seeking to move away as well. But he has generally come back for the weekend games when he's missed a Europa League game. Alisson's the other one. He's a new boy. Again, Emery was talking about him having more availability in the future, so I think he's still out. They did get Onana and Sancho back for Thursday. They've also got Leon Bailey back. Remember him? He had been away on loan at Roma, but they've obviously let Daniel Marlin go, and Bailey has come back to sort of complement the options in the wide areas.
Righty-o. And Sancho scored for them for the first time midweek as well. Arsenal against Manchester United. Latest from Arsenal. What's Mikel Arteta, who I will caveat that to say that he is notoriously not forthcoming with the truth sometimes. But nevertheless, what has he had to say for himself?
Yeah, he mightn't have even told us that Nkapie and Calafiori were back in training had we not seen the TV pictures and they were there. So that was helpful from Sky Sports. But they are back in training. I think today was the first time they were pictured. So Calafiori's been out 4 weeks, and Nkapie has been out 2 weeks. So quite a quick turnaround to Sunday because they were definitely not in training before the Inter game.
Okay.
So the Arteta, as you could imagine, he said we're going to see after training how everyone is and then make a decision on those two. So I think they've got no new issues reported from the Inter game. So I think the only definite absentee is Max Downman, the teenage winger, who obviously wouldn't have started anyway. So a very, very strong squad.
Okay, rightio. And as for Manchester United?
Pretty strong squad as well. The only absentees we believe are De Ligt and Zirkzee. De Ligt it's been a slow progress. As Bukarik says, hopefully in the next couple of weeks he may be back in around it. Zirkzee again, I think about a fortnight out for him. Mazraoui should be back after returning from AFCON. Shea Lacey's back from suspension, but obviously he's not in trouble to start 11. And then it's which combination of attackers Carrick Perms in attack with obviously Sesko and Cunha were benched last week.
Yeah.
But as you'd expect, Carrick said this afternoon, it's horses for courses. Some games they'll play, some games, obviously Dorby will
Okay.
drop out. So I think it'll be a similar setup to last two because it's a similar game. They're going to be away at Arsenal. They're going to be off the ball quite a lot and breaking when they
Yeah.
can. So I think it'd probably be, I would think, a similar
Will
sort of
the
lineup to last weekend.
will the difference between the defences though, because Man City have played with quite a high line and Arsenal are less like that. Do
Yeah,
you,
I mentioned this in my scouts, but I think Arteta will be far too savvy to leave the gaps that Guardiola and City left last weekend. They played right into Man United's hands.
yeah.
So I think I mentioned this in my scouts currently. I think we might see quite a cagey game. Like the goalless draw against Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. It might be something similar to that. Famous last words: "It'll be a
Okay.
4-4 thriller
Yeah.
now." But yeah, Arteta will have no doubt seen last weekend and
Okay.
then learn from that. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
think it'll play out differently this week.
Okay. So maybe Cunha might start this one.
He might, but I would still think Dorgu for that extra defensive help on that left
Okay.
flank.
Okay. Fair
You
enough.
would think, against Saka down and Timber down that
Okay.
right for Arsenal. You maybe think that Dorgu doubling up with Shaw. Cunha's maybe not the
Oh.
best at
Okay.
tracking back, although he did hair around when he came on as if to prove a point. I think,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see.
Okay, interesting. As with all of these, do check out Neale's predicted lineups on fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Also, do check out the site for latest membership offers. I think there's some good ones coming up at the moment. And also, do remember to press that like button, does help us out. Do remember to subscribe, keep updated with the latest videos and podcasts as well. Last one, Everton against Leeds. Yeah, big news for Everton. Could be like 1 in, 1 out, though.
It could be, could be one out and several in actually, because
Oh,
Grealish is the one who's definitely out. He suffered a foot stress fracture, and reports are suggesting months out. Moyes didn't give a timeline this afternoon. Keane's obviously still unavailable as well. This is the final game of his 3-match ban, so he returns thereafter. But yeah, potential returnees. Um, Undai and Garnagher, they're back from AFCON. They've only walked in the building this lunchtime, according to Moyes, but
oh,
Everton's playing on Monday night, so they've got a bit extra time.
yeah.
And Moyes said they'll be assessed by the fitness team, medical team, just as a matter of protocol. And then the ones possibly coming back from injury. So 3 of them back in training. Branthwaite, who was back, I think, before game week 22, but didn't feature last weekend. Alcaraz and Dewsbury Hall as well. Dewsbury Hall, I think, is the latest one to return. In fact, Moyes said this afternoon that he's just back in. Alcaraz and Brunswick have just trained as well. So he said they're getting much closer to it for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Those 3. It did sound he did when he's talking about Dewsbury Hall being just back in, and El Bobble had confirmed this as well, hadn't he? The famously in the know Everton social media account. I think he was in light training earlier this week. I think yesterday was his first full day training.
Okay.
So whether he can prove his fitness in those intervening days between now and Monday. The thing is that Harrison Armstrong, who's a young player who's been away on loan at Preston, he's come in back from loan.
Okay.
And Moyes said he had his best game so far in that Villa match. So he might start regardless in that 10.
Okay.
Dewsbury Hall maybe coming on to get some minutes at first. And then Ndai coming back in for Grealish, obviously, because Grealish is now out in midfield.
Okay, rightio. And as for Leeds?
Leeds, yeah, not without their problems either. Let me drag up yesterday's presser because this was one from Thursday. Yes, Goodmanson's a slight doubt, a question mark, Farker called him because of adductor problems. He was not training as of yesterday, so we'll see. Again, he's got on Monday to recover, so a bit of extra time. Stack could be back. He missed out unexpectedly against Fulham. Again, I think it's a similar issue with Doctor, but he is already back in training. So again, you'd think he's going to be available for Monday. Bijol, he's out, but not quite as serious as first feared. So I think another 2 or 3 weeks out for him. Dan James is back in training, but only partly. And Farker implied that he wouldn't quite be ready for this one. And then Buonanotte, who signed on loan from Brighton, having previously been at Chelsea. Farker, again, much like the Sunderland and West Ham loanees that signings we mentioned earlier, he hasn't featured much in the first half of the season, so he is going to have to get, I think, a bit of fitness work in before he's considered for a start. But he'll be in the squad for sure.
Okay, I'll try and round up most of those things available. Fleming could be back for Burnley. Simons could be back for Tottenham. De Kuiper looks like he will be back don't know whether he'll start for Brighton. Gahey, pretty much guaranteed to start. He's certainly going to play. And so it looks like he'll start that game. Mateta is going to play despite rumours that he wants to go. Questionable though for Leeds. Stack and Goodmanson, as we just heard there, got issues. Paulinho's got a knock, could keep him out. Henderson got an ankle problem, may or may not keep him out. Bruno Guimaraes is very hard to tell with how he's got an ankle injury. He is being given every chance. He could very well start. He could very well not start at all. We just don't know at this stage, but he's definitely a doubt. Burns back in training, could get some minutes, could start. Minter is unable to make 90. That puts his start under doubt. Palmer's to be assessed, but it looks like he'll be back for Chelsea. Nunez has got illness, so going to keep him out. Smith Rowe is in contention for Fulham. Dewsbury Hall is back in training, but he's only just come back into training, so it remains to be seen whether he'll start. Very doubtful there, but he could get some minutes. Hincapié and Calafiore have been spotted in training. So cameras have caught Arteta out there, so they've been spotted in training. Jesus, the Nottingham Forest one, has missed midweek, and so did Murillo, so they are doubts. Konate's got a bereavement; his father's died, so it remains to be seen whether he'll play. Unlikely. Chiesa's got a knock, which makes him a doubts continued. Definitely out. Paqueta got injury, or want away, I'll put in there. Bergval got an ankle problem. Jurgensen at Chelsea's not going to play, so Sanchez guaranteed to start. But the manager was full of praise for Jurgensen, so going forward, I don't know about Sanchez. Tavernier's got a hamstring problem. He's going to be out for a while for Bournemouth. Muniz is back on the grass, not going to play, but he's back. Muniz, that is, not Munoz. Muniz for Fulham, back on the grass there. So not going to play, but worth mentioning because it's a development. Lukic is out for Fulham, meanwhile, with a knock. Xerxes got a knock, going to keep him out for Manchester United, but I'm not likely to play anyway. And Grealish got a foot problem, is going to keep him out as well. I haven't mentioned the Aston Villa ones. Leon Bailey's back off loan there. Emi Martinez is still a doubt there. Remains to be seen what's going to be happening there. And of course, McGinn is out. Got injured last time out. I think we've covered most things there.
I believe so, Drew. Yeah, I think that's everything.
Great stuff. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks everyone who's joined us in the live chat. It's good to put your questions in. We do look at them and try and cover some of those things that you've mentioned there about certain players as well. But if you've got any further queries about team lineups, as I said, have a look at Neale's stuff at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Well signposted there, predicted lineups. Very much an essential read. Okay, thanks a lot for your time. Take care. See you soon.
Bye-bye for now.